They didn't shout. They didn't scatter. They just stood there, watching the shed collapse into flames. The name was still glowing on the charred wood, carved deep like someone wanted it to last forever. Clara. Not painted, not written, carved with a blade. Then came the smoke, the kind that doesn't just claw at your throat, it drags at your soul. No one moved, no one dared speak, because in Hollow Bend, you don't call evil by name. You bury it or you burn it. But Silas Ray wasn't like the rest. He stepped forward, calm as thunder rolling before a storm. And in front of the whole crowd, he said the one line that made half of them flinch. She don't sleep out there no more. She stays in the house now. Just like that, you could feel it. That moment when silence turns into judgment. When truth walks in wearing boots and dares anyone to stop it. But let me take you back. A few days before the blaze, the coach rolled in late, wheels screeching like they carried more than just weight. Nobody was waiting. Nobody ever did anymore. And then she stepped down barefoot, skin sun-cracked, dress torn and dust-stained. A single strap slipped off her shoulder, showing a bruise dark as plum wine. Her knees were scraped, arms marked with what looked like clawed fingers. She didn't ask for help, didn't even lift her eyes, just touched the wheel like it was the only thing holding her upright. That was Clara Mays, once the sheriff's daughter, now a shadow wearing skin. Most folks turned away, but not Silas. He was watching from the smithy, sunlight casting long stripes at his feet. He didn't blink, didn't stir, 'cause sometimes a man doesn't need to see it all to know something wrong's been done. And before Clara vanished into the healer's cabin, she muttered a line that cut sharper than any fire. Use me, break me, just move me. They say that was just a shed fire, but I swear, something far darker caught flame that night. Silas didn't visit the healer's house that day, didn't knock, didn't ask, but 3 nights later, he left a loaf of bread on the sill. No note, no noise, just bread wrapped in an old cloth. And one more thing, tucked inside like a secret, a peach, soft and bruised from his own tree. It wasn't much, but it was more than anyone had ever given her. He turned to leave, quiet, always quiet, but her voice caught him mid-step. Not loud, not afraid, just drained. You gonna take your turn? He froze. Isn't that why you brought it? She didn't open the window, didn't cry, just said it like she'd said it too many times before, to too many men who never carried bread. He left without a word, but next morning a red ribbon lay on his stoop. Not new, not pretty, just hers. From that day on, Clara sat on the porch at dusk. Never said much, never looked up right away, but Silas would nod once, just once, as he walked from forge to well and back again, and she'd sit there like maybe silence was the only safe thing left. One evening, after he handed her a tin cup of water, she finally asked, "Why don't you ask me what happened?" He kept hammering. "Would you want to tell it?" She didn't answer, didn't need to. Sometimes not telling is the only way to keep standing. That night, she left another ribbon, this time tied to the well, faded red, the kind little girls once wore when they believed birthdays still mattered. They weren't friends, not yet, but there was something in the quiet between them, something that remembered who she used to be. By the 4th evening, Clara sat farther from the porch, not hiding, not inviting, just there, close enough to hear the hammer, far enough to believe no one could claim her. She wasn't healing, not yet, but she was showing up, and sometimes that's all survival looks like. Martha Pike passed by that night, heels sharp, voice sharper. Girl like that shouldn't sit where decent folk walk,
Ain't no dignity left in her bones. Silas heard it from the forge. Didn't raise his head, but his hammer, it fell harder than usual. Next morning, worse. 3 local boys, barely man, mostly spit and cheap beer. They lingered by her fence. Not loud at first, just laughing too much, leaning too close. One tossed an apple core. It hit near her bare foot. Clara didn't flinch, didn't lift her eyes, but the second one muttered something about broken toys being easy to borrow. The third snickered and brushed his fingers along her hem like it was funny. That's when Silas came around the corner. He didn't yell, didn't threaten, just looked at them, long, steady, like a man who'd fought worse than wolves. The boys left, not running, but not strutting either. And you'd think that was the end, but it wasn't. That night, Clara didn't sit out front, but on the side step, Silas found another ribbon. This one tied to the fence, with a small coin knotted inside. Maybe thanks, maybe something else. He didn't take it, just stood there, palm on the post, long after the sun dipped. Some stories don't need big battles to scar. Sometimes it's in the look of a man who refuses to let the fire spread. If you're still listening, you're part of this now. And trust me, this story isn't done. So hit that subscribe, drop a comment, and let's ride this one out together. The next Sunday felt hotter than hell. Clara wore the same torn dress. Not for show. It was all she had. She walked down to the trading post, 10 steps from the porch, but far enough for trouble to spot her. Levi Harrow was already leaning there, one boot propped, chewing nothing worth chewing. He saw her, grinned slow. "Ms. Mays," he said, tipping an invisible hat. Clara kept walking, didn't answer, didn't stop. That's when he moved. One hand gripped her arm hard, yanking her sideways. "What's the rush, sweetheart? Thought you liked company." The slap came first. Not hers, his. Backhanded across her cheek. Clara fell hard, dust rising around her. Gasps echoed, but nobody moved. Until Silas stepped from the smithy. Not walking, marching. Every step burned the ground beneath him. He didn't ask, didn't warn, he just hit him. One punch, straight to the jaw. Levi dropped, but Silas didn't stop. Dragged him up by the shirt, shoved him against the rail, and with a voice low enough to chill bone, he whispered, "You touch her again, I'll bury your hand behind that shed." Levi bled from the lip, didn't argue, didn't joke, just limped off. That night, Clara said nothing, but on the forge table, Silas found her ribbon, burned at one end, tied in a bow. He kept it in his back pocket. After that day, folks talked, not about her past, but about the man who stood like it was the only thing worth standing for. The next day, Clara didn't come out. No ribbons, no bread, no quiet sitting. Silas didn't knock, didn't ask, but when the forge cooled and the sun sank, he left a plate by her door. 2 slices of cornbread, 1 boiled egg, and a folded napkin with her name, Clara. By morning, the plate was gone. In its place, a single white button. Not new, not special, but Silas smiled when he saw it, 'cause that's how healing starts. Not with fireworks, but with buttons and bread. That evening, she sat on the steps again, closer this time. He sat beside her. No words, no questions. And just before the sun dipped, she leaned her head on his shoulder. Not heavy, not desperate, just there. He didn't move, didn't speak, but his hand rested gentle over hers. And for the first time since stepping off that coach, Clara closed her eyes without flinching. There's something holy in a quiet man who shows up, something sacred in a woman who chooses to stay. Not every tale needs a kiss in the rain. Sometimes it just needs a porch, 2 worn boots, and a peace nobody else dared to offer. So tell me, what makes a broken soul whole again? Is it justice, mercy, or someone who doesn't look away when it hurts? If this story stirred you, hit like, tap subscribe, and share your thoughts down below. Have you ever met someone like Silas, or maybe even felt like Clara?